Have you ever wondered what might happen if, just for today, you chose to believe that you are already enough, that no one anywhere is better than you? Pause for a moment and imagine the weight of every doubt, every whispered insecurity, every memory of rejection slipping from your shoulders like an old heavy coat. Feel how different the air would taste if you stopped asking permission to matter and decided without apology that you are already worthy. This is not about arrogance or pretending you have all the answers. It is about finally seeing what has been true all along. Your life carries a power that no one else can duplicate. Think about how often you've held yourself back because you feared you weren't ready, or you worried someone else was more talented, more experienced, more deserving. Those thoughts are thieves. They steal the very opportunities that could transform your life. But here's the truth the world rarely says out loud. Belief comes before proof. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, did not wait for perfect evidence before stepping forward. They acted first, and the proof followed. Psychologists call it self-efficacy, the quiet conviction that you can shape your future. Studies show that people who believe in their own ability to succeed take more risks, recover faster from failure, and climb higher than those who wait for confidence to magically appear. Confidence is not a gift handed to a chosen few. It is built when you dare to act before you feel ready, and that daring begins with a decision to carry yourself as if you already belong in the room, as if no one's opinion has the power to shrink your worth. When you choose to act as if you are the best, you are not lying to yourself. You are awakening the mind's natural ability to create reality from repeated action. The moment you straighten your posture, speak with clarity, and move with purpose, your brain begins to align with the message your body is sending. I am capable. I am enough. I am ready. This is not make-believe. It is training. Like a muscle strengthened through exercise, belief grows every time you act in alignment with the person you want to become. Imagine the freedom that comes from knowing you do not need anyone else's validation to start. You stop chasing approval. You stop measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. Instead, you turn that energy inward and upward. Each bold step you take, even a small one, tells your subconscious that you are a force to be reckoned with. And when you live this way, something remarkable happens. Opportunities begin to notice you. People sense your certainty. Doors open that once felt sealed shut. Stay with this journey until the very end, because what waits for you is more than motivation. It is a new way of being. If you allow this truth to sink deep, if you act today as if you are already the best version of yourself, you will start to feel a quiet shift. Fear will still knock, but it will no longer rule. Doubt will whisper, but you will keep moving. And one day soon, you will look back and realize the transformation began the moment you chose to believe that no one, anywhere, was ever better than you. That spark of belief you feel right now is more than a passing surge of inspiration. It is the beginning of a psychological shift that can change everything. Modern research in behavioral science reveals something extraordinary. The way you act shapes the way you feel far more than the other way around. When you carry yourself like someone who is already powerful, when you speak and move with the certainty of a champion, your brain responds. Chemicals like dopamine and serotonin rise, stress hormones fall, and confidence begins to harden into reality. This is the as-if principle in action. You don't wait for courage to show up before you move. You move first, and courage follows. Think about the moments when fear told you to shrink, the trembling hands, the racing heart, the quiet voice that said you weren't ready. Those signals were never proof that you should stop. They were only proof that you would stand on the edge of growth. Every great athlete, every visionary leader, every creator who has ever changed the world has felt that same rush of uncertainty. The difference is that they chose to step forward anyway. They acted before they felt ready, and the act itself became the bridge between who they were and who they were meant to become. You have that same power. Each time you decide to act as if you are the best, you are rewiring your own mind. Neurons that fire together, wire together. The more often you choose the posture, the words, and the actions of someone who knows their worth, the more automatic that state becomes. It stops being performance and starts being truth. What begins as a conscious effort turns into a natural rhythm. Soon, the confidence that once felt like a costume becomes your second skin. And there is another hidden gift inside this practice. When you lead with action instead of waiting for perfect confidence, you silence the inner critic that thrives on hesitation. That critical voice feeds on your delay, gaining strength every time you stand still, but action starves it. Every bold step you take sends a message to your subconscious. Fear is no longer in charge. You don't need to feel unshakable before you start. You only need to begin. Momentum does the rest. Consider the ripple effect this creates. Your energy changes. People sense it without you saying a word. They lean in, drawn to the quiet certainty that radiates from someone who moves with purpose. Opportunities notice you. Doors you once thought were locked begin to open. This is not magic, it is psychology. Confidence expressed through action triggers a feedback loop. Your actions feed belief. Belief fuels more action, and the cycle builds until it becomes unstoppable. So when doubt whispers again, and it will, remember that the most powerful transformation never starts with a feeling. It starts with a decision to walk into the room as though you belong, to speak as though your words carry weight, to move through the world as though no one is better than you, not because you need to compete, but because you finally understand that your value has never been up for comparison. Act first, the feeling will follow, and with each deliberate choice, you will watch your own life rise to meet the vision you dared to embody. Comparison is the quiet thief of your strength. The moment you measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel, you hand over the keys to your own power. It begins with a glance, a scroll through someone's success, a quick look at what they've built, and before you know it, the mind begins to whisper that you are behind, that you are less. But those whispers are lies. No one else has lived your exact story. No one else carries your unique blend of talent, scars, and potential. Psychology calls it the self-comparison trap, and studies show it drains motivation and fuels anxiety. The more you chase someone else's timeline, the more you lose the energy to create your own. Your greatest rival is not the person you see winning today. Your greatest rival is the version of yourself that refuses to grow. Every time you catch yourself looking sideways, pause and turn inward. Your only true competition is the person you were yesterday. Focus on what you can build, not on what others have already built. That single shift, redirecting attention from their path back to your own, unlocks an energy that comparison can never give you. Courage lives in that redirection. It is the quiet decision to stay in your lane even when the world shouts for you to match someone else's pace. Courage is not loud. It is not a dramatic display for others to see. It is the steady heartbeat that says, I will rise on my own terms. Research and motivation shows that people who track their personal growth instead of competing externally are more persistent and more fulfilled. They measure progress by effort and mastery, not by someone else's scoreboard. This is how real champions are made, not by chasing shadows, but by sharpening their own edge. When you act as if no one is better than you, you are not claiming to be above anyone. You are claiming the right to run your race without apology. You are protecting the precious energy that is wasted when you compare. Every ounce of attention you give to someone else's success is an ounce you take away from your own potential. Refuse that trade. Turn comparison into curiosity. What can you learn from others without losing yourself? Let their achievements be inspiration, not measurement. As you build this mindset, something powerful begins to happen. The noise of competition fades. The urge to prove yourself weakens. You begin to move with a quiet confidence that others can feel but cannot fully explain. You create from a place of freedom, not fear. This is not ego, this is alignment. You finally understand that you are not here to outshine anyone. You are here to shine fully as yourself. So when you feel the tug of comparison, remember, it is a signal, not a sentence. A signal to return to your own path, to pour energy back into your own growth, to double down on the work that only you can do. The world does not need a copy of someone else's greatness. It needs the one-of-a-kind impact that only you can bring. Stand firm in that truth. Act as if you are already the best version of yourself, and comparison will lose its grip. Your power will no longer be borrowed from others. It will be born from within, unshakable and entirely your own. Doubt will always try to sneak back in when the noise of comparison begins to fade. It waits for quiet moments, whispering that you might fail, that you are not as strong as you thought. But doubt is not a signal to stop. It is proof that you are stepping into territory where growth lives. Psychologists call this the growth edge, the place where the brain is stretched beyond comfort and forced to adapt. The very presence of doubt means you are challenging your limits. Instead of running from it, use it. Let doubt become the spark that fuels your next move. Every great achievement has been born in the presence of uncertainty. Those who break through are not the ones who never feel doubt. They are the ones who act anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, and confidence is not the absence of insecurity. Courage is movement despite the tremble. Confidence is built when you move forward while the voice of hesitation still lingers. When you choose action in the presence of doubt, you are training your mind to see fear not as a warning, but as a signpost pointing toward transformation. Neuroscience shows that when you face something that scares you and keep moving, your brain rewires itself. Pathways of avoidance weaken, while pathways of resilience strengthen. The very act of confronting what frightens you teaches your mind and body a new truth. You are capable of more than you believed. This is how you turn doubt into fuel. Each time you lean into discomfort, you collect evidence of your own strength. Those small victories become proof, and proof becomes unshakable confidence. Do not wait for the inner critic to disappear before you act. Waiting only feeds it. Doubt grows stronger when you give it time. Action starves it. The moment you take the first step, no matter how small, you interrupt the cycle of hesitation. You shift from overthinking to momentum, and with momentum, the voice of doubt begins to lose its authority. You stop asking if you can and start proving that you will. There is power in reframing the way you see these moments. Instead of saying, I am afraid, so I must not be ready, learn to say, I am afraid because I am entering the next level of my life. Fear is not a wall, it is a doorway. Doubt is not a chain, it is a challenge. When you act as if you are the best, you accept that doubt will travel beside you, but you refuse to let it steer. This is the hidden strength of those who rise. They are not fearless, they are relentless. They use every flicker of uncertainty as a reason to push harder, to prove to themselves that courage is built in the act of moving. And when you choose to move like that, when you decide that doubt is no longer a barrier but a signal, you unlock a source of power that cannot be shaken. Fear will still whisper, but your steps will speak louder. Doubt will still knock, but you will already be walking through the door. Greatness is never a single dramatic leap. It is built in the quiet repetition of what most people overlook. Every small decision you make each day becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. The world often celebrates the highlight moments, but psychology shows that long-term success is the result of consistent habits practiced when nobody is watching. Each morning you rise before excuses. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, you reinforce a powerful identity, someone who respects their own potential. These small acts of commitment whisper to your subconscious, telling it that you are someone worth believing in. Discipline is more than self-control, it is self-respect in action. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you strengthen trust in your own word. Research on habit formation reveals that repeated actions carve deep pathways in the brain. The more you practice, the more natural those actions become, until excellence is no longer something you chase. It is simply who you are. Every time you honor a routine that builds you, you are teaching your mind and body that greatness is not occasional, it is your baseline. There will be mornings when you feel tired, when the temptation to settle whispers that one day of ease will not matter. But these are the moments that define you. Motivation may spark the first step, but it is discipline that carries you through when inspiration fades. High performers across every field know that showing up when it is hardest is what separates those who dream from those who do. Each time you choose action over comfort, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than passing moods. This daily practice is the engine of self-belief. It builds an inner momentum that no setback can fully break. Psychologists call it identity-based habit building. When your actions match the kind of person you want to become, the identity itself begins to take root. You stop forcing change and start living it. You no longer ask whether you are capable. You demonstrate it day after day through the choices you make when no one else is watching. Imagine the quiet power that grows when every sunrise is a cue to invest in yourself. The first thought is not whether the world is watching, but whether you will honor your own standard. This is how you act as if you are the best without ever speaking the words. You live in a way that makes it true. Your life becomes evidence, not opinion. The work you do in solitude becomes the strength others will one day see in public. When you commit to these rituals of greatness, you turn discipline into freedom. Freedom from the chaos of doubt. Freedom from the need for external approval. freedom to pursue the life that only consistent action can build. Each habit, each repeated choice is a brick in the foundation of the person you were always meant to be. And as those bricks stack higher, the world begins to notice, not because you sought applause, but because excellence cannot remain hidden. Life will test the strength of that foundation. No matter how disciplined you become, there will be seasons when everything you built is shaken. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will rise like storms you never saw coming. This is not a sign that you are unworthy. It is proof that you are alive and moving. Resilience is forged in these moments, and it is the quality that separates those who merely survive from those who rise stronger. Positive psychology calls it post-traumatic growth, the ability to not only recover from hardship, but to transform through it. Every setback carries within it the raw material of strength, but only if you refuse to quit. The world's most successful minds understand that failure is not the opposite of progress. It is the classroom where progress is taught. Each time you face adversity and stand back up, you rewire your brain to believe in your own endurance. Neural pathways associated with perseverance strengthen. Emotional muscles that once trembled under pressure begin to hold firm. You become someone who no longer sees difficulty as a dead end, but as a training ground. Pain, when embraced with purpose, becomes preparation. The disappointment that once threatened to break you starts to carve wisdom and patience into your character. Research shows that resilient individuals not only recover faster from setbacks, they often develop deeper empathy and a stronger sense of meaning. Your scars become maps of the roads you have traveled and proof of the strength you now carry. What once hurt you becomes the very thing that equips you to handle greater challenges ahead. This resilience is not about pretending everything is fine or forcing a smile through struggle. It is about acknowledging the weight of what you face while choosing not to let it define you. It is about standing in the middle of chaos and whispering to yourself that this moment will not have the final word. When you act as if you are the best, you accept that the storms will come, but you refuse to bow to them. You let the wind test you, knowing each gust only deepens your roots. There is a quiet power in realizing that resilience is built, not inherited. Every time you rise after a fall, you create evidence that you are stronger than yesterday. This evidence becomes a shield for future battles. Doubt loses its grip when you can point to the times you endured and overcame. Fear softens when you remember how many times you have already survived what once felt impossible. So when life delivers its hardest blows, do not mistake the struggle for failure. These are the moments when your inner strength is forged. The person you become on the other side is not the same as the one who entered the storm. You carry a depth of courage that cannot be taught in comfort. You carry proof that no setback can define your destiny. Resilience becomes your silent trademark, the unshakable force that allows you to keep moving forward, no matter how fierce the storm or how long the night. The battles you have survived do more than strengthen your body. They reshape the language of your mind. Every thought you feed yourself becomes a seed that either grows confidence or breeds hesitation. The words you repeat inside your head are not harmless background noise. They are instructions to your nervous system, shaping the way you feel and act. Cognitive psychology shows that self-talk directly influences performance, decision-making, and even the chemistry of the brain. When you constantly tell yourself you are not ready or not enough, you teach your mind to search for proof of that lie. But when you choose words of power, you program your brain to notice opportunity and to meet challenge with courage. Start by listening closely to the voice within. Notice the phrases that rise when you face difficulty. Are they the echoes of past criticism or the sound of your own potential calling you higher? You cannot always control the first thought that appears, but you can always decide the second one. That second thought is your chance to rewrite the script. Instead of I can't, choose I will. Instead of I hope I'm capable, say I choose to become capable. These shifts are small but potent. They signal to the brain that fear is not in control. This is more than positive thinking. It is mental conditioning. Athletes, leaders, and creators who perform at the highest level know that the quality of their inner dialogue determines the quality of their outcomes. They train their thoughts as deliberately as they train their bodies. Each time you replace a limiting phrase with an empowering one, you strengthen the neural circuits of confidence. Over time, these circuits become the default. What once required effort becomes natural. The voice of encouragement grows louder than the voice of doubt. The impact of this practice reaches far beyond your own feelings. When you speak to yourself with respect, you begin to carry yourself differently. Your posture changes. Your energy shifts. People around you sense it before you say a single word. Confidence expressed internally radiates externally. Without boasting, without a single announcement, you draw others toward you. You create a presence that commands attention because it is rooted in self-belief, not performance. It will not happen overnight. Some days, the old voice will return, trying to drag you back into familiar patterns of insecurity. That is not failure. It is simply the echo of habits you are outgrowing. Each time you catch it and choose different words, you weaken its hold. You are proving again and again that you control the narrative. When you act as if you are the best, you are not pretending to be flawless. You are choosing to speak to yourself as someone worth believing in. This is how you build an unshakable inner foundation. Your mind begins to trust your own guidance. Your actions follow the direction of that trust. And slowly, powerfully, you become the person you have been telling yourself you are all along. Your life rises to match the words you dare to speak within, and the world will see the change long after the echo of those words has faded. Confidence is not a gift handed down by chance. It is a structure you build with your own hands. It grows each time you decide to trust your ability before the world gives you permission. Every skill you practice, every challenge you face, every hour you invest in mastery strengthens the foundation of that trust. Psychology calls it the competence-confidence loop. The more you practice, the more capable you become. The more capable you become, the more you believe you can. This cycle creates a quiet strength that cannot be faked because it is rooted in proof you created through action. You do not need to wait for someone to call you ready. The simple act of showing up again and again is what shapes readiness. Every repetition is a vote for the person you are becoming. Each time you dare to step into a situation that stretches you, even when you feel uncertain, you create evidence of your own power. That evidence builds an inner certainty that no outside opinion can shake. True confidence does not announce itself loudly. It speaks in the steadiness of someone who knows they can handle what comes. Preparation is not merely about skill, it is about identity. When you train your mind and body for excellence, you are telling yourself a story about who you are. You begin to see yourself as someone who delivers, someone who follows through. Research shows that when you adopt this identity, anxiety decreases and performance improves because your mind recognizes that you have already paid the price of preparation. You no longer wonder if you belong. You know you have earned your place. Every small victory matters. The first time you push past resistance to complete a task you once avoided, the first time you speak up when silence feels safer, the first time you continue practicing long after comfort fades. These moments may seem small, but they are bricks in the wall of confidence. Over time, they create a fortress inside you. You do not need applause to confirm it. The proof is in the work you have already done and the strength you have already built. This kind of confidence cannot be borrowed and cannot be faked. Pretending without preparation creates a fragile shell that cracks under pressure. But when action and belief grow together, you carry a quiet authority that others feel without explanation. Your presence changes the atmosphere. People listen because they sense the weight of someone who has done the work. When you act as if you are the best, you are not claiming perfection. You are committing to preparation so thorough that confidence becomes natural. It is no longer a mood you hope for. It is a state you have earned. Each deliberate practice session, each late night of effort, each moment of disciplined focus becomes a declaration. You can trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, the world takes notice. Without shouting, without competing, you embody a strength that invites respect. Confidence, built through preparation and proven by action, becomes the quiet armor you carry into every challenge, unshakable and undeniably yours. Confidence built through action becomes even more powerful when it is anchored to a purpose larger than yourself. The drive to grow is strongest when it is tied to meaning. Without a deeper reason, success can feel hollow and effort can lose direction. Psychology shows that people who connect their goals to a sense of purpose experience greater resilience, lower stress, and a stronger sense of fulfillment. Purpose transforms work into mission. It turns challenges into opportunities to serve something bigger than personal gain. Your purpose does not need to be grand in the eyes of the world. It needs to be true to the core of who you are. It might be the desire to create beauty, to lift others, to break cycles that once held you back. Whatever it is, let it ignite every action. When you wake each day with a clear why, the hard moments stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like preparation. The obstacles you face become proof that what you are building is worth the fight. When you act as if you are the best, it is not for ego or applause. It is because you recognize that your life has weight. Your choices ripple outward. Every effort you make, every piece of work you create, every act of courage you show becomes a signal to those watching that greatness is possible for them too. This is the quiet power of purpose. It multiplies your impact. It takes personal confidence and transforms it into collective inspiration. Research on meaningful work shows that when people believe their actions matter to something larger, their performance improves, their creativity expands, and their persistence grows stronger. Purpose feeds energy when motivation runs dry. It gives you a reason to rise when fatigue tries to hold you down. It makes the hours of preparation and the discipline of consistency feel like devotion instead of obligation. This deeper drive also protects you from the emptiness of comparison. When you know why you are moving, you no longer chase someone else's version of success. You are not swayed by trends or distracted by applause. You move with clarity. Your steps are guided not by the noise of the crowd, but by the quiet pull of your own calling. To live with this kind of purpose is to become a force that cannot be ignored. People feel it when you enter the room. The steadiness of someone who knows where they are going and why. You do not need to announce your mission. Your actions reveal it. Your life begins to shine like a lighthouse for others who are searching for their own direction. Acting as if you are the best is not about placing yourself above anyone else. It is about honoring the unique mission that only you can fulfill. When you align your confidence with your purpose, every challenge becomes a chance to contribute. Every victory becomes a shared triumph, and every day becomes a meaningful step toward a legacy that will outlive you. This is the energy of purpose, stronger than fear, louder than doubt, and powerful enough to transform not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. Purpose gives you direction, but resilience keeps you moving when the path becomes steep and lonely. Every great transformation demands endurance, and endurance is built not in moments of comfort, but in the weight of adversity. The human mind is wired to avoid discomfort, yet psychology reveals that growth is triggered when you lean into challenge instead of running from it. What feels like resistance is often the very force that shapes you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. Resilience is not simply surviving, it is the art of using struggle to build power. Each setback carries within it the seed of greater capacity. When you choose to face difficulty rather than retreat, you create a mental pattern of perseverance that becomes unbreakable. Researchers call this stress inoculation. The more you face and overcome controlled stress, the more your mind learns that it can recover and adapt. This is how confidence matures. It stops being an idea and becomes a muscle. Every disappointment, every rejection, every closed door can become a source of energy if you decide it will. Pain is not a signal to quit. It is a sign that you are in the territory of growth. The discomfort you feel is the old version of yourself breaking apart so that the stronger self can emerge. You stand firm in the storm. When you keep showing up, even when results are hidden, you are proving to your own mind that you are unshakable. That proof will carry you through every future challenge. Resilience also rewires how you see failure. Instead of a verdict, failure becomes feedback. It is information, a guide to refinement, a teacher of strategies you could not learn in comfort. The most successful people are not those who avoid failure, but those who use it as a compass. Each misstep reveals what must be strengthened. Each obstacle uncovers a new layer of skill. The mind that embraces this process stops fearing failure because it recognizes the hidden reward inside every setback. To act as if you are the best, you must hold yourself to a standard that does not collapse when life tests you. That standard is built in silence. In the unseen hours when no one applauds, it is built when you decide to rise again after a fall. When you refuse to let temporary pain define your permanent identity. Your willingness to continue, even without recognition, becomes the very proof of greatness. When you cultivate resilience, you carry a calm power into every room. Challenges that will break others become opportunities to show your strength. Doubt loses its grip because you have already walked through the fire and discovered that you cannot be destroyed by it. This inner certainty radiates without words. It tells the world that you are not only capable but unstoppable. Resilience is the bridge between purpose and victory, the unshakable force that ensures you reach the heights you were meant to claim. Resilience gives you the strength to stand tall, but self-belief is the spark that keeps the fire alive when no one else sees the flame. It is the quiet conviction that your value is not determined by approval, trends, or applause. Psychology shows that the most powerful form of confidence is intrinsic. It flows from an internal source that no external judgment can touch. This kind of belief cannot be granted by others. It must be claimed by you. It is a decision you make every day to trust your own worth even when evidence is still unfolding. Self-belief begins with the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. Every belief you hold is a seed that either nourishes your growth or poisons it. When you choose to feed your mind with words of capability and potential, you are building an inner environment where strength can thrive. Neuroplasticity proves that the brain changes with repeated thought. Every time you affirm your ability to rise, every time you silence the voice of doubt with a statement of power, you are physically reshaping your mind to expect success. This is more than positive thinking. It is the deliberate training of your mental landscape. Doubt will still appear, but it will no longer control you. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, you learn to act in spite of it. You acknowledge the whisper of uncertainty and move forward anyway. This is the essence of self-belief, courage expressed through action even when the outcome is unknown. The decision to trust yourself becomes stronger than the need for immediate proof. Criticism will test this belief. Opinions will come from those who cannot see your vision, from those who fear their own potential and try to limit yours. When your sense of worth comes from within, their voices lose their power. You listen for wisdom, but you no longer bend to judgment. You no longer measure your progress by the reactions of others. Your path is defined by your own commitment, not by the fleeting approval of an audience. To act as if you are the best is to recognize that the standard you set for yourself matters more than the comparisons others try to impose. It is the understanding that your journey is unique, that no one else carries your exact combination of experience, talent, and vision. The moment you stop chasing validation and start trusting the quiet authority of your own heart, you become untouchable. Self-belief transforms obstacles into stepping stones. What once seemed like impossible walls begin to look like temporary challenges. You move with a quiet confidence that does not need to shout. Your presence becomes magnetic because it radiates certainty. People sense it, they are drawn to it. And without forcing, without pretending, you lead simply by being a living example of what it means to trust oneself fully. This is the kind of belief that moves mountains, not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you finally realize you have always had the strength to climb. When you stand in unwavering self-belief, your energy begins to influence everything around you. Confidence and purpose radiate outward like a signal that cannot be ignored. People sense it before you speak. They feel it in the steadiness of your presence, in the quiet conviction behind every move you make. This is the psychology of emotional contagion. Human beings unconsciously absorb the states of those nearby. Your certainty becomes a mirror that invites others to find their own strength. Without effort, you become a catalyst for courage. This influence is not about control or dominance. It is the natural outcome of living fully aligned with your own truth. When you embody confidence without arrogance, when your actions are fueled by purpose instead of ego, you inspire trust. Others see that your power is not a mask, but a reflection of inner discipline and integrity. Leadership emerges from this place not as a title, but as a force of example. Research shows that people are drawn to leaders who project both competence and warmth. Your commitment to growth and your belief in your mission create both. The world responds differently to those who carry themselves with this kind of presence. Opportunities appear because others recognize reliability and strength. But the deeper transformation is not what you attract, it is who you become in the process. You no longer shrink to fit expectations. You no longer dilute your vision to avoid discomfort. You step forward with a calm certainty that you belong in every room where your purpose calls you. This kind of influence also carries responsibility. When people look to you for guidance, your words and actions gain weight. Integrity becomes essential. True greatness is never built on manipulation or pretense. It thrives on consistency and authenticity. The same self-belief that empowers you to rise must also ground you in humility. Psychology calls this servant leadership, using strength not to elevate yourself above others, but to lift others higher. Your presence can spark transformation in people you may never meet again. A single act of courage witnessed by someone else can awaken their own dormant strength. The quiet confidence in your voice might be the reminder someone needs to keep fighting for their dream. This is the ripple effect of personal mastery. By embodying your highest potential, you silently give permission for others to do the same. Acting as if you are the best is not about proving superiority. It is about embodying the highest version of yourself so fully that others are inspired to rise. You become living evidence that greatness is possible, not because you claim perfection, but because you show what relentless belief and disciplined action can create. Your life becomes more than personal achievement. It becomes a spark for collective courage. And in that influence, you find a deeper fulfillment, knowing that by daring to trust your own strength, you have helped others discover theirs. Influence fueled by integrity draws you into a deeper relationship with discipline. It is not enough to feel inspired in fleeting moments. Greatness is forged in the rhythm of consistent action. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. It transforms lofty dreams into measurable progress. Psychology calls this the power of delayed gratification, the ability to resist short-term comfort for the sake of long-term success. Those who master it create lives of extraordinary impact because they refuse to be ruled by impulse. Discipline begins as a decision but becomes a habit that reshapes identity. Each time you honor your commitments, even when motivation fades, you teach your mind that your word is law. This quiet self-respect builds unshakable confidence. You no longer depend on bursts of inspiration because you have trained yourself to move regardless of mood. Neuroscience reveals that habits carve neural pathways that make action almost automatic. With repetition, discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like freedom. This freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the presence of self-mastery. When you control your habits, you are no longer a prisoner of distraction or fear. The daily practices you keep, rising early, focusing deeply, sharpening your craft, become the silent proof of your commitment to excellence. Others may see only the results, but you will know the quiet hours where character was forged. Discipline also protects your purpose from the chaos of life. When adversity strikes, when doubt whispers, when the world tries to pull you off course, your routines keep you grounded. They are the anchors that hold you steady when everything else shifts. This consistency signals to your own mind that your mission is non-negotiable. It builds a sense of control that reduces anxiety and fuels resilience. To act as if you are the best is to show up even when no one is watching, to do the work when applause is silent and recognition distant. It is the refusal to let circumstances dictate your level of effort. The discipline to persist when enthusiasm fades separates those who merely dream from those who live their vision. Discipline also sharpens focus. It teaches you to say no to distractions, to guard your energy, to prioritize what truly matters. Each deliberate choice to protect your time is a declaration of self-worth. You stop chasing every opportunity and start building a life that aligns with your purpose. As discipline becomes part of your nature, it ceases to feel like restriction and begins to feel like power. You carry within you the knowledge that you can trust yourself completely. The world may shift, opportunities may come and go, but the steady rhythm of your commitment remains. This is the quiet strength of those who achieve greatness. Not a flash of talent, but the daily choice to honor their potential. Discipline is the ultimate proof that you believe in the life you are building, and it transforms the act of becoming the best from a distant dream into a living reality. Discipline sharpens you, but it is vision that keeps your heart alive as you climb. Vision is more than a dream. It is the clear picture of the life you are willing to build with unwavering faith. Psychology shows that people who create vivid mental images of their goals activate the same neural pathways as those used in real action. This means your brain begins to believe before the world catches up. A powerful vision becomes both a compass and a source of fuel. It directs every choice and sustains you when the journey tests your resolve. Vision demands clarity. It is not vague wishing. It is the deliberate act of defining what you stand for and where you are headed. When you see your desired future in detail, the colors, the sensations, the impact you want to create, you give your mind a target it cannot ignore. This mental rehearsal strengthens your belief in what is possible and primes you to recognize opportunities that align with your purpose. But vision is not merely about imagining success. It is about embodying it. To act as if you are the best, you must first see yourself as a person who has already achieved what you seek. When you visualize yourself performing at your highest level, you train your mind to accept that identity. This is not pretending. It is preparing. Studies on mental practice show that athletes and performers who vividly imagine their success improve their real-world performance. Your brain begins to wire itself for the reality you envision. The power of vision also lies in its ability to sustain motivation during difficulty. When obstacles rise, when setbacks threaten to discourage, your vision reminds you why you began. It transforms struggle into meaningful sacrifice. You stop asking whether the effort is worth it because you can already feel the reward of a future you are creating. This sense of purpose protects you from burnout and keeps your energy focused on what matters most. Vision is magnetic. When you carry a clear and passionate picture of where you are going, others feel it. Your certainty inspires trust. People are drawn to someone who moves with direction, who speaks with the authority of someone who has already glimpsed the destination. This natural pull can attract allies, mentors, and opportunities that accelerate your journey. To maintain a vision of greatness requires courage. The world will question your dreams, doubt your capacity, and sometimes tempt you to settle for less. But when the picture in your mind is vivid and alive, compromise loses its appeal. You know what you are working toward, you can almost taste it, and that conviction allows you to stand firm when others waver. Acting as if you are the best means living every day as the person who already embodies that future. You walk, speak, and create from the certainty that your vision is not a distant hope, but an inevitable reality. This unwavering clarity turns belief into action and action into destiny. Your vision becomes the quiet force that pulls you forward until what you once imagined becomes the life you are living.